support for fracking falls to lowest ever level, finds official UK government survey, destruction to natural environment the main reason for opposing fracking.
Here's a summary of the article.
Public support for fracking has reached its lowest level yet, the latest research suggests. Friends of the Earth Clean Energy campaigner Jamie Peters said, with support for fracking at all-time low and overwhelming public concern about climate change, it's time to pull the plug on this destructive, unnecessary and unwanted industry. Opposition to fracking was highest in northwest England with 50% of people against it and lowest in London where only 30% of people opposed it. That's why the government has given the industry significant support to develop while ensuring our world-leading regulations remain in place to ensure fracking happens safely and responsibly. Groups opposing fracking said the survey showed ministers needed to back renewable energy. This means abandoning support for climate-wrecking fracking and fossil fuels and instead championing energy saving and power from the wind, waves and sun. This is what the science requires and the public demand. It's time to stop dithering and get on with it, said Mr. Peters. Other groups said the survey showed fracking is failing to win the support of communities.
This post received a score of 3,481, with an upvote ratio of 94%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Conservative statement: we have taken this survey to the highest levels and what we take from these findings is the people want us to just get on with fracking and stop taking so long about it.
No, that's Brexit. I'm pretty sure you said fracking.
Say what's going on with that anyway?
Not a lot. The deadline got extended and, instead of using the extra time to figure out how to do it all properly, it seems to have all gone a bit quiet on the topic from government. Seems like they're just trying to drag it out longer and longer hoping everyone'll eventually forget the whole thing, which is pretty much how I thought they'd handle it right from the start.
Seems clear it was a bad idea to begin with, possibly influenced by Russian propaganda as well as pandering politicians, as with the US, and focus on non-issues like immigrant crime or freeloaders, all pretty much a tempest in a teapot. Need to get the kids in control as soon as possible.
The boomers are going down as the generation that destroyed the natural world, so much for leaving a livable place for your kids and grandkids.
Every single one of us is. Take some responsibility.
James Hansen's testimony on climate change happened before most millennials were born. It was basically completely ignored even though it made very clear what was happening and there was still some time to take preventative action. Environmental policy in the USA took a sharp negative turn around the 1980s to 1990s, just around the time that boomers were becoming the dominant generation in power. What we are mostly doing now is just trying to live in the world they created, and swimming against the current in trying to fix it.
Even if it wasn't our decision, we've definitely benefited from their choices, albeit indirectly. It's not so much that environmental policy did a U-turn, it just stopped advancing. They kinda reached the limit of obvious improvements but didn't quite have the technology to start noticing the less obvious areas of environmental damage. They knew global warming was a thing, but didn't really know what it actually meant in terms of climate change.
The first article on observations of anthropogenic global warming was written in 1876. The first article definitely making the case for CO2 emissions being linked to climate change was written in 1899. By the 1960s the science of climate change was established enough that President Johnson's advisory committee wrote to him about it. I remember reading about climate change since I was a child. We have known about climate change for a long time, certainly more than enough time to do something about it, and we consciously chose to do nothing, or to actively bury the science and pollute more.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.